Welcome to the A&R Worldwide podcast presented by Nuplak with your boy Taylor Jones here as your host. This is the Executives in Discussion podcast where we talk to experienced executives and creatives. We dive into their journeys, ups and downs, the state of the business, where they see it going, and of course gathering some priceless advice and key takeaways. If you're in the music industry or you're looking to get your start in the music biz and want to hear from the very best, this podcast is for you. Today's episode was recorded back in March of this year and is with the one and only Tarsem Mittal, founder of TM Ventures, TM Talent Management, and all of the subsidiaries. I'm excited about this one because Tarsem has represented the biggest names in the music industry, hailing from India, including Arijit Singh, Badshah, Amit Trivedi, Sunidhi, and so many more. He is a renowned entrepreneur, has started countless companies, was the incubator of All About Music that has united the Indian music industry. And since this conversation, we've had the pleasure of becoming friends and getting to know each other. Let's dive in. Thank you for being here. It's a privilege and an honor to meet you. I'm really glad to see you here in Burbank for MUSEXPO. How are you?
Thank you, Taylor, for having me here. I'm doing amazing, and it's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see young energies like you doing so many things in music.
Thank you. The young executives like myself look up to people like you who have, had amazing careers in the business and have also diversified in a number of ways. And I had the privilege of, actually speaking at your music convention in Mumbai last year, which was just a fantastic experience for me. And I also had the privilege of meeting your team and have now been working with your team and who are just fantastic also. And it's been great to see the world that you've built and how much drive and growth you personally have provided for Indian entertainment and music, and then exporting that culture globally and really putting a footprint. It's phenomenal. And you've worked with some of the biggest artists in the world and have been, an usher to their success and their careers. I'm so curious as to your backstory and where this genius came from, where the musical passion came from, and when you started to learn that this was going to be, the career for you for the rest of your life. How old were you? What were you doing? What is the background? Please walk me through.
Honestly, if I start telling you my entire story, it's going to take 5 more podcasts. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to sum it up in a very short. So I am like any other story from India. There are millions of people like me.
Yeah.
Who were struggling to meet their ends, who were struggling to have food. I belong to a very humble family.
Yeah.
We didn't have any access to any information around entertainment. I just passed my 12th and I had to do something in life. Somebody told me to do modeling. I did it for a few days. Then I was playing DJ.
Did you learn the 3-part pose? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that was my first access to, this world. And I was thinking as a child that my father is struggling to make money and he works 12 hours a day or sometimes 16 hours a day. And
what did your father do for work?
Very difficult to explain. He was in a transportation business, very small part of the transportation business. He used to discount challans. I mean, it's not a business which exists in the US. So we were struggling, and I have to just stand and walk on the ramp, and I'm getting money.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like magic. That's the best thing you can do. And I belong to a place called Guwahati, which is northeast of India. And I'm talking about 99. During those time, it was really a place where there were a lot of terrorist activities. It was not so liberal and stuff like that. So we had very limited concerts and other stuffs. So one thing led to the other. Modeling led to playing a DJ, being an anchor, being an event manager.
Yeah.
I did everything what I could do. I used to mimic on stage. I used to dance on stage. I used to do everything which could make me money. And that was the access to this world. And there was a DJ friend of mine who I told that, listen, can I start taking your calls? Because you make $5,000, or not $5,000, $500 for one show. But if I start taking your calls, maybe you'll make $1,000.
Yeah.
And that's how the management started. That's how I,
in its most organic sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had already had experience being the performer, being the dancer, being the DJ, being the event planner, and wearing every single hat, which is what makes truly great managers great, because they've been able to experience all of that. So you started making calls, and you started getting into the art of negotiating and upping the fee, and then taking a commission because there was an increased fee and it came at a value to the client. Where did it go from there?
So from there, I started doing events. Then I also formed another outdoor business, a printing business, a creative and PR business, a fabrication business. I did a lot of things.
Yeah.
Moved to Mumbai to book some artists.
How old were you at this point?
I was about 18, 19.
Okay.
I also
So you started young. When you started performing, how old were you?
15.
15. Yeah. I started at 13. Yeah.
I think it all starts then.
You start young. When you're passionate, it comes out.
And sometimes when you're doing those stuff, you don't realize what will it lead to. Because I hadn't seen the world. I didn't know there is something called artist management. I didn't even know there is something called booking agents or music labels. I had no clue. I was just trying to survive. I was just trying to feed myself and my family.
Yeah.
And whatever I was getting, I was not looking at what can't be done. That I knew.
You were looking at what could be done.
Yeah. I think I was blessed with that attitude.
A mindset that you clearly have carried for the rest of your career and still do.
Yeah. And there is it's luck, it's sure luck, it's sheer luck. I mean, you can't plan to have that mindset. I had that mindset and it worked for me. And eventually when I started coming to Mumbai to book artists for gigs in the...
And how far away did you live from Mumbai? What was the distance?
It's 3.5 hours by flight.
By flight. So you were flying in and out, or were you driving sometimes?
No, driving is not possible. It'll take 3 days.
Okay, so you were flying in and out.
Yeah, flying in and out. And that's when I had some interest on these things. But India was very behind in terms of artist management as such. All of us were booking agents. We always thought that booking gigs for musicians means artist management. Mm-hmm. And, more than 50% of the country still believes that.
Yeah.
We still don't understand the artist management in true sense. And that's how we started doing things. And eventually, after doing these things for like 6-7 years, from 2003...
And were you a one-man band during this period?
Yeah, I was sometime in Bombay, sometime in Guwahati.
Yeah.
Just keep traveling.
But you were working alone. You didn't have a big team at this point.
No.
Okay.
I had a team, but like in India, having a team is easier because the expenses are less. The manpower is cheap.
Sure.
So we definitely had a team, but I was not sure. I was just trying to do a lot of things. Got married. My first level of problems were over. My loans were over. I had a decent house, those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In 2011, when I was 29, is the time I realized that, listen, I'm doing good. But do I want to do this? Do I want to do events? Do I want to run an outdoor business? I think I'm the best artist manager in the country. That's a thought which I had. And my daughter is just 9 months old. Now, before she starts going to school, I need to have a settled place. Yeah. I have to either stay in Guwahati or move to Mumbai. This is the only time I have to decide. So I just spoke to my wife and I told her that, listen, can we take a chance for 3 years? I think I'm the best artist manager in the country. And I think music is my forte.
Yeah.
All these years I've been just working. So I just told her that, listen, all this while I was doing things for the sake of doing it, for the sake of running my family. And out of all the options, I chose the best option.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the best artist manager and these are the 3 years we have. Let's go to Mumbai. Let's set up an artist management company, especially in music, because before that I worked for actors, comedians, all sort of things. But music is my forte. And that's when we shifted to Mumbai completely. And in 2012, and we started this company called TM Talent Management. And we coined the word very smartly. So TM stands for my name.
Yeah.
TM stands for Talent Management. TM also stands for Truly Musical. That was defined. And we were the first breed of organized artist managers at that time. And as I told you, we were not artist managers, we were booking agents. And I remember my first pitch to all the musicians were that, listen, I don't know about these things. The only thing I know is how to handle your concerts well. And that's what we are going to focus on. And from there, we kept on learning, we kept on exploring. And it became what it became. And as a character, I love doing new things. I get bored very easily. So when we started talent management, then few years later, I realized that management is a different subject. Booking agency is a different subject.
Yeah.
So we started a booking agency called Entertainment Consultant. Then when I got bored again, I started visiting conferences in the world. I went to MUSEXPO, Music Matters, all those conferences. I kind of realized that there is no music conference in India. And it's weird. And I think we should do that.
Yeah.
And in an effort of doing that, I will learn a lot. Because how do I learn? There is no school.
You learn by doing.
I learn by doing. So I did that music conference. Then we thought there is no billboard in India. We started a platform called Music Plus. And that's how one by one we started a music festival. And then COVID happened.
Yeah, it's a Bollywood music festival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened. And once COVID happened, I think it's a time to start music labels. I started music labels. And then I thought, I've done enough. And I need to take a break. Because to be really good in artist management, it's a 24/7 job.
It is.
And you have to be 5 years ahead of your time. And when I realized that, listen, I'm going to turn 40, and there are better people in my team who deserves to lead the company now. Alap, Saurav, all these people.
Yeah.
And I have a beautiful team. So I tied up with Universal.
You do. And I've had the pleasure of having a tour through your office and meeting many of your team. And I talk with Abby almost on a daily basis. Yeah.
So that's when we thought of doing a strategic tie-up with Universal Music. And I kind of personally exited that space.
Yeah.
And now I've also, I don't know whether you know, I also had an influencer management company. The announcement has happened day before yesterday.
It just sold.
Yeah.
Rahul just we're meeting when I go to Mumbai.
So it's been bought over by another company, international company called Vicon.
Yeah.
It's a Paris-based influencer management company. So I have exited myself from the service business.
Yeah.
And now I'm developing my music labels, my podcast company, which will be a reality-based company. It's called That's Real. So we are planning to make more content in that company, which will be around music. And we are also developing an app. It's called Connect the Relevant. So Connect the Relevant's aim is to simplify connections between the musicians, the creators, the B2B music industry.
Yeah.
In the real time. So you have Polestar and so many platforms in the world, but no platform does solve the real-time connections. Because today, with the advent of technology, internet was made to connect people in real time. Telephone was made to connect people in real time. Social media, all the apps. Now you're connected to everybody in this world.
Yeah.
But you are not connected to the relevant people. If you look at your phone book, your 90% contacts only contribute to 10% of your job. And your 10% contacts contribute to 90% of your business.
Yeah.
So the truth is that connecting to the relevant people is the most important thing. So there is no solution to that, especially in the creative industry. So we are working on that, and we are launching that in the next couple of months.
Okay, I'm very curious to see it.
Yeah, that's all we are working on right now.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of things, and it's funny to hear you. Not funny. It's remarkable actually to hear you talk about these enormous accomplishments that you've had over the years so lightly, because I know that they weren't without challenges, and I know that they weren't without hardship and hard work and sacrifice, because that's what it takes to have success, and that's what it takes to build. You said there was no music conference in India, so we did that. And then you moved on to the next thing. But you've built an enormous music conference that pulls together creatives and executives from all over the world that's, highly respected and, requires a big team and a big amount of production. And, it's a big endeavor within itself, let alone the incredible artists that you've mentored and managed over the years, and the tours and the festivals and the apps and the consulting businesses and everything else that you do. You've become a titan, with all due respect, but an incredibly humble one, and it's really remarkable to witness that. So I have enormous respect for what you've done. In the position where you are now, having exited the service-based business and I can't even say 9 to 5, the 24/7 slog of being on all the time, which is what it takes with artist management. And I started my career as an artist and moved into artist management, and I was managing big artists for a long time. And I was going grey by the age of 21, I think, when I was managing artists. And I also decided to shift into entrepreneurialism and starting companies and tech platforms and a beverage company, and we have a live touring agency the same as you. We do 1,000 shows every year for our clients. We have the management company, we've got the venture division, we've got a TV and film studio. We do all of these different things. For me, hearing you talk reminded me in a lot of ways of some of the mindset that I had and still have, which is I got bored of this. I need more stimulus. I need more stimulation, and I have to do new things. And if I don't see a solution or a resource that exists in a particular area, then I'm going to be the first to go and do it.
True.
And so that's been my mantra and my ethos every time that I've been, developing. Where did that drive come from? Because I understand the background and the hunger for more, the literal hunger also that drove you into a position of, work hard, fix this, provide for my family. And as you decided to grow, and have success, of course, that position changed. And you could have easily, with this amount of success across your career, you could have easily become complacent, and you could have easily become, happy with what you had, but you've been striving for more and more and more and more. And now even to a point where the more is your personal self-development, your personal gratitude, your personal comfort, which is not the 24/7 slog, but it's, I want to be connecting with people, and I want to do content, and I want to explore that side of things as well. Where did this self-development to just continue to achieve come from? Do you look up to, do you have idols in the space that you've looked up to? Did you have a mentor, or is this really just derived from the magic within you?
So it has nothing to do with the business. It is more personal, honestly. The honest answer to that, this will be blessings. There is no way to define where this comes from. It just exists.
Yeah.
And I think I've been extremely, extremely lucky because generally lack of information creates problem for you.
Mm-hmm.
But lack of information has always helped me because I had lesser knowledge, I had lesser to lose. And I was able to see to the world as an outsider. So, for example, if I came to a conference, if I knew everybody, then I already have judgments. That is, why should I meet the guy? Why should I sit in this panel? Why should I talk to this person? There's a lot of judgment. But since I didn't know anybody, every single conversation was aspiring for me.
Yeah.
I was able to take out something from that conversation.
You see the value in everything that you do.
Yeah, and I can say I'm just being lucky here. And fortunately, I have so many relationships in my life. I will have at least 200 relationships who are very close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big number.
Yeah.
And I would have come across more than 10,000 people in my life.
Yeah.
And people have been really kind that they've opened up to me.
Mm-hmm.
They've shared their experiences, their stories, their journey, their difficult decisions, how they were cheated, how they felt less as a human being, how they made a mistake earlier in their life and later regretted that, listen, there was a mistake in their life. And we all go through that same phase. Fortunately, that lack of knowledge has really helped me because I was always able to see what I'm able to learn.
Naivete can be a superpower sometimes.
Yeah. And then how people have really helped me in sharing their stories with me, that has really, really helped me. That's another reason. And sometimes you don't realize some true character of you. I also realized a little bit about me in the last 2 years because I had time with myself. Otherwise, I was always busy. I have never taken a break of that sort.
Yeah.
So I was on a sabbatical. In the sabbatical, I realized that, who I am a little bit. I am somebody who don't understand the normal rules and regulations of the world. For me, black is black, white is white. And, you sometimes do a lot of things to fit in this world. Fit in the family, fit in the social circle, fit in the business circle. Maybe I'm not a person who's comfortable fitting in. And that's why I get bored very easily, And I love to do newer things. I love human beings, all kinds of human beings. Whoever, whatever.
I can tell you have a warmth, and an openness to you, and you're clearly so comfortable with yourself that it's. And easy is the wrong word, and I'm trying to find the right word, but it's okay for you to be vulnerable with people and to explain your difficulties and challenges and the things you're proud of and the things that you've gone through. So, that takes enormous self-development in order to get to a position like that,
So that has happened to me in the last couple of years, as I said, because I have judged myself from all sides. I became an outsider. And I kind of looked upon me and read a few books and spoken to a few people. So I realized a lot of things about me, that this is who I really am. I love to explore. As I said, I love human beings despite of race, religion, caste, age. I mean, I can talk to anybody for 2 hours because I love listening to stories. And but I didn't know about myself like this, in this clarity. So I love employing people, I love solving problems. And that's who I really am. So if I don't have a problem, then it's a problem for me. So I try to find a problem. And the moment I solve the problem, it's uninteresting for me. And that's why I am not able to lead my businesses for 20 years. I lead something for 2 years. And the moment I feel somebody else can do it, my interest goes away. So that's who I really am. Now, I might be successful in some projects. I might be failure in some projects. Now, the truth is that the world only looks at your successes. But that's not the truth. So I managed almost 60 artists in my life as a manager. Out of them, only 10 succeeded really well. So the truth is that 50 artists didn't succeed at all. So my failure rate is more than 80%. And my success is less than 20%. But people only know the success. So what I want to tell you is that sometimes two people who are good in their job might not do great together. It's not really important how knowledgeable you are, how connected you are, how influential you are, how much money you have. To create something good, whether you are an artist, you're creating a song, whether you're doing a live concert, whether you're doing a deal, whether you're doing a business, the resources are not important. The most important thing is that feeling of how genuinely you want to do it. And sometimes people get lucky. And people who don't want to do that work follows the people who are lucky. But that doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work. Sometimes, let's for example, a song has become a hit.
Yeah.
So now a lot of people try to take a formula that, listen, the song has to connect to you in the first 5 seconds. That's a formula. That's not a rule.
Yeah.
you cannot. So there are 100,000 songs created with that same formula. Only 5 worked. Those 5 songs worked because when an audience listened to the song, they felt it. That's the only thing. There is nothing else that works. It's the same with human beings. You might be a good-looking person. You might be an extremely educated person. You might be an extremely rich person. But sometimes when you meet that person, you don't feel right about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, if you have to find logic, it's illogical, right? But you still don't feel that. So no scientist, no businessman has ever been able to find the answer to this because there is no answer.
Do you believe in energy?
I only believe in energy.
You only believe in energy, right?
Yeah.
That was my anticipation.
But I didn't know about this. This belief of me, it kind of simplified for me in the last couple of years because I was this, but I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
So
I felt that from you from the first minute I met you, by the way. I felt immediate like warmth and energy and just, you feel it. You feel it with people. I think in order to have had the career that you've had and to have the self-awareness that you have at the moment, you must have been able to read and connect with people, whether you knew it or not.
Correct.
Your entire life.
Yeah.
And you've referred to luck quite a few times.
Like
there's something to be said for, making, or at least influencing how lucky you can be and manifesting the things that the universe will bring to you, So I think to a degree, you may, and I don't know your background anywhere nearly as intrinsically as you do, besides what you've very kindly shared with me today. But, you must have had a major role, I think, in attracting the luck that you ended up receiving, and receiving the good karma that you ended up receiving. And maybe there was some bad stuff too that helped you learn along the way. I'm not sure, but it's the self-awareness and this spirituality that you carry is really endearing.
Thank you.
Genuinely. Yeah.
I believe so. So you mentioned about luck, right? Why do I keep saying it? Because when you do something intentionally, that means you have planned for it. But sometimes you realize that the best things that has happened to you in your life has happened to you because of decisions you didn't even know how did you take it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you asked me that what it's inspired or what happened, the truth is I don't know. I really don't know. Why would I do a certain thing in the past which led me to become an artist manager? Or if I have to take decisions like that today, it's impossible for me to take, because I remember when I was telling you from the decision from Guwahati to Mumbai, that was one of the most difficult decisions for me, because for the first time in my life, I was kind of secured. And I had a 9 months old daughter.
Yeah.
I was 29. But the only feeling which I was having in my mind was that I always come across people who keeps on saying that, listen, this guy was really talented, but 10 years back he didn't do this, that's why he's here. And that's the kind of stories which we used to hear all around. So I just thought that I don't want to be that person that wouldn't try. And that was the only feeling I had in my mind. I was not able to think about numbers, security, nothing at all. I was just thinking, I'm 29. If I don't take a risk on myself now, I will become like them, who keeps on saying that, listen, we were so talented, we had access to this thing and that thing, but we didn't do it. And that's why we are here. I don't want to be that guy. And
you're not that guy.
I know. I'm just saying.
Luckily, right? I guess that we say luckily, but
if you ask that, how did that feeling come? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to say that. How did you feel like that?
Do you believe that everything happens for a reason?
100%.
Yeah. Well,
now I do.
Then those decisions you made.
Yeah.
were whether you believe it or not, whether you believe that you made those decisions intentionally or not to lead you to where you are, then it means that if you believe everything happens for a reason, then those decisions you made were by design.
True.
To some respect.
And the honest truth is that in India there is a kahavat, there is a proverb saying, "Andho mein kana raja." So which means that if everybody is blind and you have one eye, you're the king. So the truth about my story is that everybody else didn't do a great stuff. That's why whatever we have achieved looks great. But India as a country is full of amazing talents. And the story of India has just begun. Especially in music and entertainment. I meet the kids every week. I meet a new person every week in India. They are extremely talented. Extremely, extremely talented. Not just composers, lyricists, songwriters or singers, but people who will be the next music label executives, who will be the biggest in streaming, in marketing, in social media, in digital. They're amazing. And like we were not born with the access to the world. Today, a guy who's in the smallest of village in India has internet. And he or she is able to learn things from Korea, from Sweden, from London, from UK, from US. We used to have a lot of hesitation in talking to people. They don't have an hesitation talking to people. They understand the culture. They understand the language. So now the real India is just begun. The real story has just begun.
Yeah.
While we are talking, doing this podcast, there are 100 collaborations happening because India is full of sounds. So people who are listening to this podcast who don't know about this, that India is a continent. India is a continent which is summed up into a country. We have Assamese, the place I come from, Guwahati. Assamese has a different language, different style, and so are the other 7 states like Nagaland, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh. Every state has a sound of its own. So for example, in Assam, there is a traditional folk festival called Bihu. And Bihu is this sound. Now this is a beat. Now this beat has no language. This is an international beat. Tomorrow a producer from the West uses this beat and creates a song and track. There are 1,000 beats like that in India. Okay. There is Himachali folk music. There is Kannada folk music. There are different languages. And like how with the advent of K-pop, kids have started learning Korean. So they can listen to their stars.
Wow.
One song which has the origins of India, which is true to the roots of India, the culture, the heritage of India, but packaged in a way that it appeals to the international audience. Because nobody wants another Justin Bieber. Nobody wants another Taylor Swift. Nobody. People in the West or anywhere are wanting the true essence of India in the song. And it has to be presented in a very nice, smart way. Because we are really rich in cultural heritage.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm very emotional about my country.
I love the passion and the love that you have for it. I spent the little time that I've spent in India and the little of it that I've seen. I came back feeling just enamored and wowed, and it was so warm and so much culture, so much passion, so much community and family everywhere. And everybody's so warm and gracious and kind. And it's really refreshing when you grow up in a place like London or a place like Los Angeles, where everybody takes everything they have for granted, and everybody's not everybody, but you know what I mean.
True.
It's a different kind of poison that we breathe in every day here, and it's one of the reasons I like traveling and seeing the world and seeing new cultures and exploring and meeting new people such as yourself and listening to stories like you do, because you learn and you grow and you appreciate and you find a sense of fulfillment ultimately that you can't find in the same whether it be stagnant or moving life that you're used to living from the place that you're from. And I guess in a way, your journey has allowed you to also travel and see many parts of the world too.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you've, been able to absorb a lot of that culture and a lot of those learnings and seeings and experiences to help shape who you are, which ultimately helps inspire those that work with you and work for you and work around you or aspire to be like you. So again, it's just a lot of messaging that's being spread with a lot of positivity. It's great.
Thank you, Taylor. And I just have to mention that the podcast which we are doing right now, the purpose of that podcast is that whoever wants to enter the Indian market, eventually just hook onto that podcast. You will learn how artists feel, how the whole industry works, operates there, what is their story, what is their perspective, how do they perceive things.
Yeah.
So it gives you a good overview of the Indian music business and the music community.
Well, I'll be tuning in heavily. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, and grateful to have had this conversation with you. And and it's refreshing that we didn't really speak about the artists and their heights of success, which is inevitably so huge. But that I feel like I got to know you on a personal level. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing and for being open and for being vulnerable and inspiring. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you like this episode, make sure you go and check out the Music Podcast, which is Tarsem's podcast. Loads of amazing guests and amazing things to learn. And if you like this podcast, Executives in Discussion by A&R Worldwide, presented by Nuplak, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode.